You guys, welcome to Nicole. This is a very serious and very special episode today. We are here with Ms Urena Walker, and I'm going to allow her to introduce herself because we are talking about something very serious today. Stay tuned.
Hello, everyone. My name is Urena Walker. Um, I am a mother of three. I'm a grandmother of one. Just a little bit about myself. I am a cancer survivor, breast cancer survivor. I am a caregiver of my daughter. I am also a life coach. I've worked for about 15 years in the mental health field, probably a little longer than that. In the mental health field, I've worked in addictions, I've worked in autism. So, for many hats, I've worked in trauma. So, pretty much my background.
Awesome, awesome. And I saw you are what is it, a style
A skills coach. A
still?
skills coach is pretty much about the same as a life coach.
Okay.
Basically, working with individuals, um, teaching them skills to work through some of their issues, teaching them how to set goals, identify goals, um, accountability, teaching them accountability skills. Some of the things that I work with them on is goal orientation, accountability, being an accountability partner, being a empowering coach, teaching them how to be empowered, focused, staying focused on the present. A lot of times we get so caught up on things that have happened in our past. We don't know how to let go of our past. We stay stuck in our past and we don't know how to focus on what's going on in our present and to live for what can happen in our future.
Amen.
So, letting go of what happened in the past season and looking forward to what's to come in the future season and living in your current season.
Amen.
So, that's a lot of what I do. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I do as a life coach. So my services is always available. A lot of things I do for pay. A lot of times people can't pay me, so if you call me and you just see me for the moment, especially when it comes to things like suicide, I'm there. I'm there just I'm there for you at that time.
And you guys, that is what we are talking about today. We are talking about suicide. That's right. That's right. Don't turn it off. Listen, because just because maybe you've not had those thoughts, but someone else that you know has. And so listen up today, gain some knowledge, some information. All right. Now, what is your experience with suicide?
Like I said, I have worked in the mental health field as a skills coach prior to me going on my own and becoming a life coach. And as a skills coach, I worked a lot as far as trauma. And then a lot of that is working with people who have had suicidal ideations, teaching them how to identify their triggers, teaching them skills on how to use coping skills when they hit their triggers. Whether it's going for a walk, talking with families, self care. Self care is a big thing. People don't realize that when you are someone who struggles with depression and anxiety, which is a lot of what goes hand in hand with suicidal ideations, is depression. Knowing how to use those coping skills to work through that. And self care is a big part of that. Knowing how to just say, okay, I need a time out for myself.
Yes.
And we don't take those time outs for ourselves. We don't take time to say, okay, I just need a 15-minute bath or a shower to just lay
Yeah.
here and say, hey, I'm cutting the world off today
Yes,
at this at
yes.
this moment,
You better.
or just taking a walk, taking in some fresh air, going to get your nails done. And, like I tell people, I used to tell clients, self care doesn't always have to cost you.
Right.
So it can, like I said,
That's right.
for me, my biggest thing when I was struggling with my anxiety and depression really bad, um, going in my bathroom, turning that hot water on, and just sitting there on that toilet and letting that steam, and having my gospel music or having
Wow.
listen to a sermon, and I just sit there, and
Mm.
I just had to just let myself go at that moment, and that is what helped me. So, yeah.
Wow.
So just knowing, how to identify coping skills that can help you and help you work through those things.
Awesome. Well, that took me into another question too about have you had those thoughts
Yes.
and those misses?
Yes.
Because I know I
Um,
had a girlfriend one time and like she took some pills, but all she did was had to get her stomach pumped.
mhm.
It didn't turn out the way she thought it was going to turn out.
uh,
So,
yes. Unfortunately, I recognize that I start having those thoughts at an early age. And
mm,
it's crazy because back when I was younger, suicide and mental health was not something that we talked about.
exactly.
It was just, okay, you
Exactly.
sad, or it's you having a hard time, and you get over it, and that was the big thing. You get over it,
Mhm.
and I start identifying a lot of my looking back. I identified a lot of my thoughts happened when I was in high school and college.
Mm.
I would just feel like, okay, no one cared. I would feel alone, and when I had those thoughts, it was just like some days I just feel like, okay, I don't want to be here. But at that time, it was just a thought. Never any thought of what to do, never any actual self harming, but it was just, I would have those sad thoughts of, some days I just feel like, why am I here? What's my purpose? Why am I here?
Mhm.
Nobody cares about me.
Mhm.
So I would have those lonely feelings.
Yeah.
So, I came from a household that there was some violence during those times. I came from my dad was not always there, and then I was with my mom and my stepdad and my sister, and there was, we had some ups and downs, so I was not always happy, and I didn't know where to go and who to talk to about those
Mm.
times.
Mm.
So when I would have those times, it was just like I just don't want to be here.
Mm.
So that was that then, and so never getting treated or never having it recognized, that went on to adulthood.
Wow.
And like I said, I never knew, that it was a thing, that it was a diagnosis. Didn't even know what a diagnosis was back then. And as I got grown, and whenever I was faced with a problem or a big trauma or a trigger, things started to escalate. And then that's when I started having, thoughts of, okay, I can create a
I
plan in my
can do
head.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, I can create a
Mhm.
plan in my head. And after I got married, we had some hard times. And then right when we got her diagnosis is when things started to really fall apart in my head. It
Mm.
was just like, I can't do this. I'm already, we're newlyweds, we're still struggling, we're having problems starting out in the marriage. And it wasn't even a year and a half after we got married that we got married in 2002. She was born in 2003. Her diagnosis came in 2006. And it was just like all of that just came falling down. And it's just like, I can't do this. I can't deal with this. And the depression just started coming in and coming in. And we separated for a while. When we separated, it was just like, I never forget, I was sitting at my mom's house, and I put the kids to bed, and I sat there, and you get these thoughts and these
Yes.
voices in your head,
Oh,
and it's just
yes.
like, okay, I don't think this marriage is gonna work. I got a daughter who I don't know if she's gonna make it. I got another daughter here who's just like, I don't know what to tell her. I don't even know if I'm doing right by her.
Mm.
I'm tired. And that was just my thoughts. It's just, I'm tired. Am I doing any of this right? Does anything I did during my pregnancy, did it cause, her problems? Even though the doctor said it didn't,
Of
it's still,
course.
as a
Yeah.
mother,
Yeah.
that's your first thought. What did I do?
What did
Because
I
as a
do?
mother, you're that protector.
Yeah.
You're that 9 month protector. You're that protector. And I
Mm.
just felt like, okay, what did I do? What did I not do right?
Mhm.
And I remember I went in the bathroom and I got my meds, and I sit there, and I was just like, I said, their bed, one was like, she was laying on her toddler bed and my daughter was laying in her bed. and I sit in between on the floor, and I just sit there, and I could hear them breathe. It was just like I could hear every breath they
Wow.
took,
Wow.
and I just sat there and I listened to them breathe for a while, and then I laid there and I cried, and I was just like, and some told me, and I picked up the phone, and it was probably like 12 o'clock at night, and I called a friend of mine and my best friend, and I called her, and I said, I just want you to do me a favor. So if anything ever happens to me, let my girls know that I love them. And she
Wow.
was like, well, what are you talking about? She said, they know you love me. And I said, well, no, just do me that favor. Something ever happens to me.
Mm.
Thank God she woke up enough to pick up on things. And she was
Yeah.
like, what's going on? Nothing. And that was
Of
my, I just
course.
kept
Of
saying nothing.
course.
I just
Of
want
course.
you to do this for me.
Of
That's all
course.
I wanted. And so then she was like, I'm not letting you off the phone. She was like, well, where's your mom at? I said, everybody's asleep. Everybody's in the bed. That's all I wanted.
Mm.
And she was like, if you hang up this phone, I'm coming out there and I'm gonna wake everybody in the house up. So she was like, she was adamant. She was not letting me off the phone.
Awesome.
And she was just like, I'm not playing. If you hang up, I'm just coming straight up to your mom's house, or I'm gonna call the house
Mm.
phone and wake everybody up.
That's awesome. That's
And we sit
awesome.
there and she just kept saying, well, what's going on? And I'm like, nothing. I'm okay. I'm okay. And she just started asking all the right questions.
Okay.
And, and from there, it's just like, I think I broke down, and she was like, where's your meds at? And I said, in my hand. She said, I need you to get up and go put those meds in another room.
Mm.
And I did that, and we sit there and we talk some more. And I think we talked till like 2, 3 in the morning.
Now you said she asked the right questions.
Hmm.
What do you feel the right questions are to ask someone?
Some of the right questions is, how do you think your family will feel without you?
Mm.
What do you think your value is? How
Mm.
do you think the world will function without you being in it?
Mm.
So,
Okay.
hmm
Okay. So is that amongst one of the many times you probably had those thoughts or those
that was
feelings
my
with
first
that? That was your
attempt.
first
That was
time?
my
Okay.
first and only attempt. Now, from there, yeah, I mean, I've had the thoughts before that, but that was my only actual attempt. From that point on, whenever I've had the thoughts, I've been able to use the training that I've had, when
Okay.
I'm working with other people, to use my coping skills to just kind of
Okay.
bring myself out, or, just kind of do my coping skills.
Okay.
I may either just go for a walk, I'll journal. I love to
Journal.
journal.
I am a
Yeah,
big
I
advocate
will.
for
Yeah, I
journaling.
will journal. A lot of times I will put on a pastor and just listen to him. And while he's talking, I'm just taking notes.
Mm.
Taking those things that I pull out, and it's almost like in my head, it's like, wow, he's talking to me, because yeah, that's just how I'm feeling, and I'll make notes of everything that he's saying, and it's like, okay, that's what I needed to hear at this time in this moment. And I tell myself, okay, God sent me to this lesson because that's what I needed to hear right now, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times that is exactly what I needed for that time in that moment.
Wow.
So,
Man, suicide is, because I've had those thoughts before too.
mhm,
My children are the ones who would always bring me back,
mhm,
and
yeah,
the thought
and
of
that's
them,
yeah,
like,
and that's the big thing. And I always think of, especially with her, she's always going to be dependent on me. She's never
yeah,
going to be able to care for herself. And my oldest biological, I have two biological, and I have one stepdaughter, which is my love child.
okay,
She's not my
your
stepdaughter, that's my love.
bonus child.
Yes, I love her to death.
Yeah.
So um, I always think, how would what would I be doing to them by doing this?
Mm.
And now that I have this grandson of mine, that,
Oh my
oh my
gosh,
God,
yes,
yes,
girl.
there's no way I could see not being on earth with this, watching him grow every single day.
Yes.
So yeah, that right there is definitely my thing that helped me keep
Yeah.
going. So even when I have
Awesome.
those rough moments, it's just like, yeah, that's what I need.
Mm.
And a lot of times, and my kids may not even know it. I may call them and just be like, "What y'all doing?" And I just need to have that conversation and talk,
Yeah.
and get off the phone, and they don't know that I was going through something.
Right.
But
Right.
yep.
Right. I know I just saw an article about some people in Florida at Disney World. two people
Hmm.
in October committed suicide. I
Wow.
said, how can
The
you
happiest
commit
place in the
suicide?
world.
Exactly.
And
How could
sometimes
you
you can be
commit
that. You can,
suicide?
and the funny thing for me is, um, a lot of my family that, and it's still a lot of my family don't know. My mother gets in denial about it,
Okay.
and I pre-warned her that I was doing this today, and she was kind of like, "Yeah, okay," but she still get in denial about it. But a lot of people have, and I think that was the hardest part for me because everybody looked at me. My sisters always called me her Shira. Everybody is looked
Wow.
for me to be the strong person in the family. She carries
Wow.
everything. She takes care of this child. She
Wow.
takes care of her children. And
Wow.
I've always been that nurturer to I help take care of tons of kids. I mean, prior to me going into mental health, my first degree is in early childhood education. So I
Okay.
had a daycare. And in my daycare, my nieces and nephews were always there. So I had everybody. The daycare would close up, everybody piled in my car, and I had everybody's kids. I even had some of the daycare kids that we took home. So
Wow.
at the time, my husband knew that, yeah, I may come home with ours plus some more. So, I
Oh
mean, I
my
always had
goodness.
kids with me at all times.
Wow.
So, and I never complained about it, always enjoyed it. When my mom's mom was sick, she had breast cancer. I would help my mom take care of her.
Mm,
So, everybody always put on this tag on my back. This is Shira. She can handle
wow.
and carry
Oh.
everything. So when I started, once I recognized what these feelings were that I was having, it was just like, well, I can't tell anybody because I'm this person that everybody looks to, and I'm this person that
Man.
everybody
Ah,
feels has got it together, and I'm this person that everybody comes to when they got a problem and
oh my
when they need help
gosh.
and when they need this advice or that advice, and I'm
Mm.
that person, so I can't let them down because if I ain't together, then who do they have?
Oh my
So I had to
gosh.
just bear this for years, and I had one person, I had a cousin. Um, he was my realtor and my therapist at the time.
Wow.
And when I told him, he was even in shock. He looked at me like,
No.
"You?" Yeah,
Right.
he couldn't
No.
believe it.
No.
And I
Not
was
at
like,
all.
"Yeah, yeah, that was me."
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it was hard for me to tell anybody because everybody looked at me to be able to be the person to hold it together. You know,
I
Nobody
understand.
believed that when I went through everything with her that
Definitely.
I fell apart. And I'm like, oh no, there was times where I just was on my floor in the fetal position
Mm,
and
mm,
literally my legs could not carry me because I couldn't get up.
mm,
But I never let
mm,
anybody see that. When I went through my divorce, I was on the floor in the fetal
mm,
position, just,
mm.
but nobody ever, I never reached out. I never called anybody and say, hey,
Yeah.
can I talk? I
Yeah.
did that by myself.
Yeah.
So,
I know my thing was at one point I was like, where's everybody's discernment?
mhm.
Why can they not discern something is going
And you
on
do, you
with
have that
me?
feeling. You had that feeling, and that was me. Sometimes that's when I was like, nobody cares about me. Nobody,
Yeah. Why are they
because
not
I feel
calling
like. But then on the other hand, that when they do call and be like, "Are you okay?" Yeah, I'm fine. I'm
me? All is
fine.
well.
I'm okay.
All is well.
Yeah. So it's just like, okay, you can't
Man.
get mad at them because when they do call and say, "How you doing? Do you need anything?" When I went through my cancer treatment, it was just like, I'm okay. Y'all don't have to keep coming over.
Mm.
But then when the house would get quiet and it was just me and her sitting there, I would sit there and then I would just, my daughter wanted to come home from college, and I was like, absolutely not. You will not come home from college. There is no need for you to come home from school. And I did. I told her no. But then I
Mm,
would sit there on the couch and I would just cry because I'm like,
mm,
I'm all alone. I'm doing this
mm,
all by
mm.
myself. But I had to sit there and say, no, there's no way you're going to fall into this. You're not going to fall into that. My sinkhole. And
Wow.
because you're already battling one monster, which is the cancer, and you're
Mm,
not going to let depression defeat you
mm,
also. So,
mm,
yeah, I had to do it.
mm.
I'm like, I'm not going to fall into both of these together. So I had to fight
Wow.
both battles. So,
Wow. Well, I know I read it says as of February of 2025, 740,000 people commit suicide a year.
this year, unfortunately, my family had to experience that. We lost my stepdad to suicide, and it was a shock to my family because, especially my sister, that was her dad.
Mm.
and my mom, because their thing was, even though I noticed the signs, being a
Mm.
profession,
Yeah.
and I kept telling everybody he's giving up, he's giving up, because he had gotten really mean, he got really grumpy. I
Mm.
mean, he was just mean to everyone, and I'm like, he is when most people, when they feel like, okay, I'm ready to end it all, they want to push people away,
Yes.
and they don't want to feel bad about it.
Yeah.
So they feel like, if I push you away and I make you angry with me, then I don't feel guilty,
Mm.
because now you're just as angry with me as I am with me.
Mm.
So yeah, I've done my job. So when this happens, there's no guilt there.
Mm.
But they're wrong, because then the guilt's even worse. And then that was with
Yes.
me.
Definitely.
He and I had fought and fought, and it was just like a total disconnect. We weren't speaking, and when it happened, I shut down for like 5 days. I could not get off my couch,
Wow.
because it was that guilt. And I'm like, why? Why did you do this? We didn't, even though my sister was like, no, he had left a voicemail and said how much he wanted you to know he loved you. That doesn't help. The problem is
Right.
that we had been fighting and arguing, and even though in my head I'm like, he's trying to push me away, but he knew all the buttons to push with
Wow.
each person. He knew
Wow.
what buttons to push. I said, so that for him made it easier to do what he did.
Mm.
So it was hard.
Wow.
And for my sister, it was really hard, because she was like, he would tell anybody else, that's silly. Why would you do that? And he would.
Yeah.
He really would.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
something that he felt like was just really something really foolish. Why would you
Mm-hmm.
do that?
Mm-hmm.
But he had gotten to the point with his illness. He had gotten really sick. Excuse me. He had gotten really sick, and he was tired. Um, he was relying on alcohol to make him feel better,
Mm-hmm.
and that was causing a lot of problems with family. So he knew what to do.
Wow. I know I've felt that too, where I was like, I'm a huge one. I'm like, suicide is the most selfish thing you could ever do, you know.
Mm,
But yeah, and still I've had the thoughts myself.
yeah,
The thoughts
yeah, yeah.
myself,
It
like,
is.
and
And
I have to
people don't
reel myself
understand
back
when
in.
because even when he did it, and everybody was my how selfish that was. It is selfish, but at the time you have to remember where that person is.
Mm.
That person at the time is battling. A lot of times they're battling demons.
Yeah,
That for
man.
him, he has a hard time
Oh,
dealing with death. He had lost his sisters, he had lost his brother. He still was battling with his mother. My grandmother, who had died years ago, he
mm,
didn't take death well at all. So he was battling a lot of things, and he was never one that would want to deal with a counselor. That was not
mm,
his thing, to deal
mm.
with a counselor.
Most men won't
Yeah, they
anyway.
don't.
So.
No. But people don't, when you say that, okay, that's just a selfish thing. Yeah, to us it is. It's selfish.
Mm,
But for them, it's so many things that are going through their head. And for them, they feel like, and I imagine for him, he thought, I'm going to end this burden that I'm putting on everybody else,
mm.
because I'm being a burden to everybody.
Wow.
My health, my drinking. I'm just being a burden. I'm no longer the man that you guys look up to.
Wow. Wow.
And that's how a lot of people, whether it's men or women, they feel like, I'm dealing with women that go through postpartum.
Mm,
They don't, it's almost like it's a chemical imbalance where they don't hear the rational things, and it's that impulsive behavior. They just feel like, okay, I'm a burden. I can't do what I'm supposed to do. I can't care for my baby.
mm-hmm.
Other people are having to come in and help me, and this is not what I want. So,
Mm. Yeah, it was saying how men are twice
mhm,
the rate of women committing
yeah, yep.
suicide, and and the highest is in Latin America or the high income North Americans.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes,
Wow.
yes,
Didn't know that.
yes.
I
I
knew
was
men. I
like,
knew the highest rate was in
whoa.
men. But yeah.
Either Latin America. I don't know. I really agree with Latin
Yeah.
America,
I always
but
knew the highest was
high
men, because
income. Yeah,
yeah.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, men just don't. They have a hard time admitting that they need help.
Yes.
seeing a counselor. And like I said, even with me working in mental health, working in counseling, men, unless they are told that they have to be
Yeah.
in counseling,
Right.
a lot of times they don't just up and say, I need help and I want to see a counselor.
Right. Right.
They have to be encouraged.
Exactly. Exactly. What else would you want to share with the people?
The biggest thing is I know a lot of people they get embarrassed. Like you and I were talking beforehand, when they feel like, okay, I've had these thoughts, or I have had suicidal ideations, which is the thoughts, or I even had made an attempt, and they don't want to talk to anybody, and that's one of the biggest mistakes. Even when I worked in the mental health field, and I would have clients to tell me, you don't understand what I've been through. You wouldn't get it. And I have no problem with sharing my story. And I would tell them, I do understand. I've been there. I've had those lows that it feel like you just cannot pull yourself out of.
Yeah.
And that's when you really need that help. That's when you need someone to talk to, whether it be a friend or a counselor, but you need someone to go to that
Yeah.
can assist you, because you don't want, a lot of times all it takes is that, because all I think of is, what if my best friend wouldn't answer the phone that night?
Right. Oh my
What
gosh.
if she had not answered the phone that night? Would I have gone? Because that's the first time I ever actually
Wow.
had that plan, had those pills in my hand,
Wow.
and would sit there, and I had kissed my kids,
Wow.
said what I had to say to them in their ear, and I knew that I was ready to do this. So
Mm. And I wanted you to bring your daughter to show part of your why
yes,
you decided not
this
to
is this is
at the time.
Ashlyn is definitely my why. Ashlyn is my will to live.
Mm.
And I always tell people, even when I had cancer, Ashlyn has battled so much in her life. When we initially got Ashlyn's diagnosis, we were told that one of the things that we were told that she may have a low expectancy to live. Ashlyn is now 22 years old. Um, we were told that Ashlyn would be wheelchair bound. We were told that she would need a feeding tube. Ashlyn probably, on most days, will probably eat more than I eat. No feeding tube. Ashley not only
Praise
walks on her
God.
own, but a lot of times if you're on the phone with me, you'll hear me say, Ashley, stop running through the house. Ashley runs through my house. Ashlyn does
Awesome.
phenomenal. Yeah, she could be doing better. I pray every night that, I hear some words, but Ashlyn communicates to me through her communication device, or she uses gestures. So I'm happy with that as well. But I know God is still working on her, and I'm never going to give up on her. So I said,
Man.
as long as Ashlyn continues to fight her battle, I will continue to fight every day, no matter what my battle
Amen.
is.
Amen. That's awesome. I see you have a lot of stuff wrote down here.
Because I had to sit there and I had to think. Because a lot of times I get nervous, and when I get nervous, I get these blocks. So, but I covered everything. Yep.
And that's why I like to send people the questions in
Yeah.
advance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
So,
generally, but this right here was something I forgot. I said, well, I may not get nervous because this right here is something I can just go on, and it's certain. But
mm,
I just wanted to make sure I had my notes just in case I had a
okay.
brain freeze.
Okay. Okay. And I do want to, do you have a way? Who should people contact if they are having thoughts?
If anyone ever wants to contact me, you can always reach me by my cell phone. I have no problem giving that out. My number is 260-437-1197. I am always on Facebook. I have a page on Facebook called Transforming You. That is my life coaching page. And it's under my page, Urena Beeman Walker. Sorry, Urena Beeman Walker, and that's Urena Beeman, Beamon Walker, Walker. I am on um, Instagram, Urena Walker, and I am also on what am I missing?
TikTok.
TikTok. I'm on TikTok as well. So
Okay.
yes, so you can reach me on any of my platforms.
Awesome. Awesome. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can call or text 988 which is the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention.
Yes.
So you could do that also. You guys, I hope you learned something. I hope that if you are having those thoughts, that you contact somebody. There's got to be
Please
somebody
do.
that you can call. Do not try to go it alone. Do not try to go it alone. And I am so grateful for my relationship with the Lord,
Yes, and that's
because
the
I
big
feel
thing.
like
Yeah.
Holy Spirit would speak to me and be like, "Don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your kids, look at
Like I
your
said,
grandkids, look at your
that is
grandkids."
definitely one of my coping skills is
Oh
pray.
my
Like I
gosh.
says, I will turn on a lecture. I will turn on
Yeah.
a gospel music. So yeah, I will do any of those things.
Yeah, yeah. So, but if you find yourself having
Getting
those
sleepy.
ideas, those thoughts, you guys, please, you can reach out to me, leave a note, say, hey, can you inbox me? Hey, can you, some type, way, shape, or form. Okay? You guys have a great day, and don't just have a great day, but make it a great day for somebody else. And I hope we made it a great day for
Yes. Have a
somebody out
blessed
there.
evening.
All right. See you later, you guys.
Have a great evening. And thank you for your time.